I want to show you how I'm making a rope basket. I'm using rope, which is basically being coiled round and round, and then I'm using this cord, which is a similar color to the rope, and I'm crocheting it around the rope. So here you see the rope and the cord. I'm doing a double crochet. We go in, picking up these 2 loops. We pick up a loop, hook and through the first loop, and then hook and through the second loop. And that's how we are doing this on the straight way. This is really heavy. You could even make a rug with these materials. It would be a really decent rug. Now, it was a little hard to start off at the beginning, and I actually crocheted, there's 2 ropes right here close together. I just reached over because it was hard to pull up the little chains from the first row. I just kind of single crocheted the first row, and then when I came around, I reached over and grabbed the bottom. It was a little bit hard getting it started, but once you get past these little tight corners, it gets a whole lot easier. It could be done with a single crochet, but I felt like it was easier to do with a double crochet because it's a lot easier to pick up these loops here than it would be to do it right on top of the rope. That's why I'm not doing a single crochet. Just a couple more tips. Each time that you start doing 2 double crochets in a stitch, it's going to be a little bit further out each row. It's not going to be straight across. If you start too soon, your work will start to buckle, and you don't want that. You want to always check to make sure that it's lying flat. That's what you want. So just remember that each time that you start that double crochet, when you do 2 in each chain, it's going to be just a little bit further out. So that it's just on the curved part that we do 2 in each one. And here's another tip. I keep my materials in a bowl. That way they don't roll all over the floor and collect dust and dirt and cat hair and dog hair and such. When you're going right, here's my rope, and here's my cord. When you go to pull up a loop, don't pull it all the way up because then your loop will be too big. Just pull it up right there so it's kind of on top. And get a hook, because you want to try to keep your stitching even all the way around. Okay, I've just observed something as I'm going around. It was fine in the small curve to do 2 in each one, but now look, I'm starting to get a little buckle. So what I think I need to do is go back to right here, and on the very end, it's it's not as so much of a curve here. I should do just 1 right here. Do only double crochet where it bends, and then it starts to straighten out a little bit, and then go back to. So I'm going to pull this out back to right about here. Okay, I think I'll take out that one. I'll leave just 1 there. So I think from here to there, I'm just going to do a single, a double crochet, just only 1 in each loop, and I think it would work out much better because we have to make sure that it's going to lay flat, because we don't want to have a warped basket. Down here, when it was a tight curve, it worked fine because you're still turning. It's laying flat now. I think I can go 1 more before I start doing double. So that's just something you just have to check as you go to make sure that it's going to lay flat. Now this part's the curve, so I'm going to start doing 2 until about here, and then I'll do single. Just do 1 in each one, and so that it lays flat like it should. That's 1, And now we'll do 2. We'll continue to do 2 as we go around the corner. That's 1. And this we do 2 in the same chain. And I do like to check my work frequently. It looks good so far. No matter what creative thing you do, you always have to double check yourself and examine, stop and look at how things are going to see if what you're doing is working. It's much better to find a mistake while working than to do a long way and say, oh man, I gotta take out all these rows, when you only need to take out maybe just a few stitches to correct the problem. So periodically lay your work down and see if it's laying properly. I suppose I should, this is what the back side looks like. And the front side. So I'm just going to go around to the, so that I have an even, I want to have the same number of coils on both sides, so I'm going to go around. Okay, I think I've come to the end of my base, and I count from the center, 1, 2, 3, 4 coils there, 1, 2, 3, 4 coils here, 1, 2, 3, 4 coils there, 1, 2, well, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4 coils there. So I want to finish it off. I want to make sure that this is the same width as that, because I want it to be even. As I kind of fold it in half, I see I need to just kind of finish off right there. So I'm not going to do I'm going to just make, I think I can make one more double crochet, and then I think I'm going to go to a single crochet to make it shrink a little bit. And I am on the turn, so I think I'm going to, no, I think I can just do I'm going to just do a single crochet, because I want to kind of shrink it down. So I want to finish right there. Single crochet. And this is where I want to end it, right here. I just want to make sure that it's still going to lay flat. Now I'm just doing single crochets. That's where I want to end it. And now I'm going to start doing the sides. Let me just check that. Okay, it looks pretty even. So that works. So there's the base. I think it's wide enough. I know what I'm going to be storing in it. So now, instead of going through the 2 chains, I'm only going to hook the front chain, because I'm going to start building the sides up now. So as I begin building up the sides, the first thing I want to do, I've ended with 3 single crochets. I'm going to chain 1 just to bring it up higher, and I'm going to go only into the front loop. Go around the rope, and I'm going to do a double crochet. Since I am going to be building my sides up, I don't want to increase more stitches here, so I'm not going to double anything. I'm just going to do a double crochet, 1 in each chain, and I'm hooking only in the very front loop, so that way it can go up. Now, from the front, it doesn't really look any different. Oops. But when I turn it over, you can kind of see this back stitch that we're not using. It kind of creates a ridge. This is going to be the side that stands up, and see the little ridge that's developing because I'm only picking up the front loop. On this side, it kind of looks the same, except that it's not getting bigger. And as I go all the way around, it will stand up. Getting close to finishing my basket. Once I did this row that created the ridge, where I only picked up the front stitch, then I went back to picking up the entire stitch because I'm going straight up with the sides of my basket, and I just continue on with the double crochet, and I just do one double crochet in each of the chains because I don't want to make the basket flare out. I want the sides to come straight up. Now, if ever your basket gets a little bit out of shape, you can actually pull on the cord. See how that just kind of made it too tight? But you can go around and you can just sort of manipulate to get everything as you want it so that everything is nice and straight. So if you go too tight or too loose, it's easy to adjust it so that you can keep your sides very straight. So I'm going to finish this row, and so I'm just continuing to doing the double crochet around the rope. And as you can see, I'm getting low on my cord. So I think I have enough to come around and finish this last row. All right, I am now at the ending point. I have 4 rows on this side, 4 rows on that side. This is where I went from the base to the next row. So I want to smooth out the top edge because you can see that this is higher than that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the rope only. So now I just have this, and I'm going to try to finish it off. Instead of doing a double crochet, I am going to do a single crochet. And keep that rope in the middle there. Trying to hold on to it at the same time. And I'm going to do a single crochet in the next. And hope that it catches a little bit of that rope to try to hide that edge. And then, whoops, and then just kind of a slip knot there. Now I still have a little bit left, so I think I'm going to do something around the edge with just this all the way around. I'll figure that out in just a second. Well, I didn't have enough to go around, so I have my last little knots. I'm just going to pull the whole thing through because I don't have a whole lot of thread left. And I'm going to do something different with the outside rim. So I've decided to give the sides more stability, to put this round reed in it. Of course I have it sticking out quite far. I'll cut it eventually, but I decided to just keep the whole thing. And I am just pulling the extra string that was left over through. I tried to use a needle, but the needle broke. And I didn't want to cut the thread because I didn't know how much I'd need, so I thought I'd cut it at the end. I'm just really just wrapping it and just looping it around the reed and pulling it through. Probably I should go around too. Alright, I'm going to pull that back a little bit. I think I'm going to start feeding this end in with some of these so I can kind of overlap it a little bit. it's time to cut this other end. I'm going to try to feed it back through. I think I might have a little bit more. Okay, so I cut my reed. I cut it at an angle, and then I used a sanding block to kind of smooth out the edges and help sand it to a fine point. And I'm just going to work the points in under the stitches that are already here. I think I'll work on this shorter side first. Should be able to squeeze them in here. Tucked away nicely. Now the other side, that's the hard part. Gotta push it back so I can put it forward. It kind of stretches out the rim. Alright, let's just get it one at a time, kind of like a knit needle. Almost couldn't even find that one. Okay, that will work. I did finish off a knot there. Okay, it is a little bit stretched out. I can keep pulling this end this way and that end that way until the basket is the shape that I want, because see how it's making the sides flare out? It could be kept that way, but I want to try to make it a little tighter. So I'm going to keep working this in that way and this in that way, just kind of overlapping it until I get it the size that I want. Okay, I used my leftover string to pull the sides in because I didn't like the way it was kind of bowing out, and I just kind of shaped it the way I want it. This reed, because of the way it was made, it wants to round too much, and I want my basket a little narrower. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in water and let the whole thing soak nice and good for an hour or so, and then I'll leave it just like this to let it completely dry. And when it's dry, the reed will be shaped just like this, and I'll be able to take off all these strings and the clips, and it will be just as I want it, and it will have the shape that I desire. Fits nicely inside my soaking basket, so now I'm just going to put some water in it and let it get softened up for about an hour or so, and then when I take it out and let it dry, it should hold its shape well.